name is Ella Ivy, and thank you so much for joining me live. I apologize for being a little late onto this broadcast. I'm still learning how to regulate time and maneuver through time. So again, thank you guys for being here with me on this journey. And I wanted to share with you a download, upload, reload, a remembrance of this was happening in load, a remembrance of this was happening in the Grand Rising this AM, and I call it Grand Rising because the power of the language, right? The power of spellcasting. And so in my Grand Rising, I was meditating and I was contemplating the energies, and I always like to follow the moon cycles because the moon, regardless of what you think about the moon, whether it's fake, it's real, it's a technology, it's an extraterrestrial device, we know, or at least we've been told, science has told us that the moon regulates the tides, which is water, okay? Now, if any of you have ever studied Veda Austin's work, which I'm really immersed in right now, she's a Cancer, I'm a Scorpio, so I have a lot of affinity for other water signs, especially, and Earth as well. And fire and air, I love it all. But I can really relate to Veda Austin's perspective about water. And with Saturn and Pisces right now, it's all about structured water, right? Saturn's our structure, it's the container, and Pisces is the ocean. It's also considered ether, right? The fifth element, if you will, or the fourth state of water, and the way that water presents itself through plasma. So let me just take a moment, take a breath as this transmission wants to come through, because I'm really excited about the information and the intel that wanted to be shared, especially after I had been integrating and processing the television series, The Last Avatar, The Last Airbender, Avatar, The Last Airbender on Netflix. And I remember first being introduced to Avatar, The Last Airbender on Nickelodeon years ago by my son when he was 6 or 7 years old. And the first episode I ever saw or watched was about when Aang, the main character, was learning about clearing his chakras, right? So he went to a guru that was showing him how to drink onion and banana juice and to clear his chakras out, and how it was all related to the chakra systems and to certain emotions and feelings. And so what was coming through really strong in this meditation, this sort of revelation, there was a couple different things. First of all, I'm not here to teach you anything. I'm here to help you remember what you already know, because we are all avatars. We are all masters of the elements. But in this container, in this incarnation, in this lifetime, we are remembering, reconfiguring, relearning to play with the elementals within our bodies, right? If you study Ayurvedic medicine or Ayurvedic practices, it has a lot to do with the doshas, which have to do with the elements, right? If you're primarily earth, air, fire, water, and what that means, and how to work with the elements within you, right? So if you're very fiery by nature, you need that water, that earth to counterbalance it. So nature is always counterbalancing itself. It's always bringing itself back to balance. And because we are nature, we are divine intelligence incarnated into these beautiful human bodies that have a self-regulating system. If we just took the time to master these systems, to master these elements within us, then we would achieve what's called the avatar state, right? Which, it's so funny, even in technology, it's like pick your avatar, right? So how you look, how you present yourself, your characteristics, whether you're strong, tall, whatever. The birth chart, in my opinion, in my gnosis, has showed me that we have chosen these certain avatar characteristics by how we choose our birth chart when we decide to come into this incarnation, when we decide to take our first breaths into this incarnation. And so we've given ourselves elements to work with within our own blueprint, within our own matrix, within our own birth chart, right? So if you're predominantly earth, air, fire, water, that can be delineated within your birth chart based on where you were born, when you were born, right? A lot of longitude, latitude, and where the planets were aligned when you took your first breath into this incarnation. And so the blueprint can show you, the birth chart or the blueprint can show you what level of mastery you have attained and what you've come to work with and how you've come to balance and bring more balance and harmony into this avatar that you have chosen into this incarnation. And what I discovered, or we remember today, which again, I'm not here to teach you anything, but I'm here to help you remember why we gave ourselves certain luminaries, certain configurations, certain relationships with planets, the archetypes that surround us, primarily the sun and the moon. And the moon was coming in really strong to be worked with. And again, I like to tune in. I am curating a level of emotional intelligence. I've got, again, my Mercury and my moon are conjunct or right next to each other, right on top of each other, in Scorpio in the 12th house. So things are always changing. The thing that doesn't change, fixed Scorpio, is that things are always changing. Pisces in a Pisces house, right? 12th house, which is mutable. So working with the moon has benefited me because it helps me tap into my emotional nature, not only my own emotional nature, but what's going on with the collective energies. It's in a Pisces house, right? So tuning into collective energies and the emotions of the collective consciousness is something that I'm here to learn to master, right? Scorpio's mastery and the alchemist and transforming and going against my own egoic nature, or I don't want to say going against, cancel, clear, delete. Rising above my own egoic nature to tune into the higher consciousness, that which is connected to all of us, right? Everything that we're connected to. And so if you can identify or relate to any of these configurations, wherever you have Scorpio in your chart, because we all have Scorpio somewhere, we all have the transformation ability somewhere in our chart. And so, but what wanted to come through today in relation to the moon in our memory and Veda Austin, right? So going back to the work of Saturn and Pisces, we have structured water. We know that water holds memory. And if you're doing any of, and I highly recommend checking out her content, and again, Dr. Emoto's work as well, as how you can program water through your thoughts, through your words, through your intentions, and how water is actually interactive. It's not just a resource, it's source energy. And it's a form of source energy that we all have within our bodies. We're made up anywhere between 70 and 90% water, depending on what scientist or philosophy you're listening to in that. But we're mostly made up of water and plasma and liquids, right? So in this liquid state, this prima materia state, this way that water flows and fluxes. And if the moon, again, regardless of what you think about the moon, and your opinion about the moon, whether it's a satellite, whether it's real, whether it was a contrived device created from an ancient civilization or race that helped to create the tides, which I'm more than likely to believe, because if we were in an electric universe and the universe was unstable at one point, and Saturn used to be your sun, and the sun fell, and there was instability within the planets, then we needed a stabilizing force if we wanted to create this hologram, this reality, this earth plane, right? This is just my own gnosis and opinion. And you guys, if you want to know more about the electric universe theory, go check out Thunderbolts on YouTube. Awesome channel. And it gives you this whole new periphery on seeing the planets as gods and why we denoted certain characteristics with certain planets, certain luminaries, if you will. So it's a really fascinating topic. Anyway, I digress. Coming back to the moon and memory and the avatar state and the elements, how is this all connected? Well, it's connected because how I was inferencing today, and again, I pay attention to the moon cycles because I want to tap into what my emotional needs are for the day, because how I emotionally feel is what I think about. It's connected to my thoughts. So I really want to regulate and again, develop this avatar state within me that's helping me to embody and to bring balance, because the divine intelligence within me always wants that. It always wants the path of least resistance. It wants to feel balance. It's just, that's our natural state, is homeostasis and harmony and balance, right? So what I was downloaded or uploaded or remembered to share with you today in this now moment is that working with the moon cycles will help you achieve and bring balance to your avatar state, depending on what element the moon is in. And what element the moon is in is going to be shown by what sign the moon is in. So what does that mean? So, for example, the moon is at the end degrees, the last degree points of Aries, which is fire, going into Taurus, which is earth. So it's like a time clock, right? It's like a cycle. If you follow the 12 zodiacal wheels, Aries will always be first, Taurus will always be second, Gemini third, Cancer fourth, right? Like a time clock. And so the moon follows that time clock, which is interesting because the moon stays in a sign or an element of the sign for 2.5 days. So we know what 2 days is 48 hours, and a half a day would be 12 hours. So 48 and 12 is what, 60, right? So we've got 60 hours in a particular sign and an element. And the moon is helping us to remember, hey, for this 2.5 days, remember to work with the element that the sign is a product of, to bring balance and homeostasis to your body, to your emotional nature, to your thought forms, to your physical representation avatar of the energy field that you carry within you. So what does that mean? So for example, we're at the end of Aries going into Taurus. Aries is fire. So when working, well, the moon was in Aries, you want to look at the characteristics of Aries, and you want to embody those energies because the moon is helping you to remember, hey, right now, I'm reminding you through the moon cycles, that you need to work with the energy of fire to master your avatar state. For the next 60 hours or 2.5 days, focus on the fire element, right? So imagine like if you're going to school or you're in that television series and you got to master these elements. For those 2.5 days or for those 60 hours, focus on mastering the element of fire, which is what Aries is denoting. And then go and look at the characteristics of Aries to start embodying or imbibing with those energies of Aries, because the moon, which is our memory, is reminding us, is showing us yet again through this cyclical nature that we have, like think of like a Fibonacci spin. It's coming back around to go, hey, this is an opportunity for you to harmonize your field by working with this elemental for this time period, right? This is the part of the spin or the spiral that you're in to remind you this is coming back again, and it'll go going back again and going around again. And so we're looking at the nature of the 360-degree circumference of the zodiacal wheel. It comes back again and it follows a pattern. So the moon is reminding us through these lunar cycles to follow the patterns of the elements and to embody and imbibe with the characteristics that were given to us through our ancestors, through the orated or the passed down knowledge of astrology, whether you follow Western astrology or Vedic astrology, shamanic astrology, evolutionary, whatever sect of astrology you're following. It's basically a conversation with the planetary energies to have a more harmonious experience within this avatar state, within this body, within this realm. So what if, and again, this is just the divine remembrance that was coming in today, what if we agreed or remembered to work with the elements that these signs are in for these a 60-day or a 60-hour cycle, which is 2.5 days. So just coming off of Aries, going to look at the characteristics of Aries, and I also have a free ebook for you guys if you want to study astrology and learn some of these concepts yourself, guys. I would love to be able to give that to you. So if you want, just put, you want information in the comments, or reach out to me, livzenastrology.com, or no, I'm sorry, livzenastrology@gmail.com. And I'll send you the free ebook so that you can start studying these things on your own in cycles. And I highly recommend everybody getting a Farmer's Almanac. I've been nomadic for a while, so I've lost my copy, but I need to get another copy of the Farmer's Almanac, just for my own, to have that own guidance and wisdom. It's online right now, But anyway, however you decide to get this information, to keep track of the moon cycles. So now we're coming into, so this is where we were with Aries, right, and fire. So now we're moving into Earth. This is going to be in the middle of the day. The last I looked on my technology, it was 27 degrees Aries. So It's going to be going into Taurus probably the end of this evening, right? So we're moving into the frequency from fire to earth. So imagine that you're learning to master the avatar state within you. It's good to know the cycles and how they're moving and how the tides of the emotions of the oceans of your emotional body is turning and shifting into. And now it's turning into the mastery of earth, right? So Aries is fire, Taurus is earth. So now over the next 60 hours, this is the time to work with the earth element. This is the time to embody the characteristics of Taurus, right? Which is earth. And I think of Taurus as the toric field, right? The Taurus energy within us, which is also the earth plane. So over the next 60 hours or the next 2.5 days, this would be a great time to go and actually work with the earth. This is the time to do your grounding. This is the time perhaps to imbibe or eat, foods that were grown from the earth. Like I'm thinking potatoes and beets and whatever other earthy that are root foods. These are the days to participate and work with the root foods, right? And just to keep things in balance within you. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm none of that. So please do your own research. This is just these are more anecdotal experiences that have come through that wanted to be shared with you guys, the collective, to help you remember that you are the avatar, that you are the master of your reality, that you have this innate ability, right? We're coming up to August. In the 8, you're in the center point of this dual experience that we're having. And what keeps you in this path of least resistance, which keeps you in this emotional, stabilizing, fluid state, if you remember to work with these energies, could be utilizing the moon and the frequency that the moon is in and the elemental that the moon is in, and start working with that energy within you for that time period, for that cycle, if you will. Now, this is something that just came through today, and I'm going to start playing with these structures within myself. I've had these awarenesses before, but they've never really been fully grounded in as they were today. And so, again, because the energy is we've got Mars and Gemini, so Mars is having me take action on speaking on the things that come into my mind, because Gemini is the mind, it's speech, it's communication, it's early childhood education. So this is part of the early childhood education that maybe we were not given, that we were not shared, because our ancestors forgot too, right? This is a culture and a society of amnesia. But thank goodness that the ancestors put the ability of memory into water, because all water contains life. One drop of water contains all the elements of the ocean itself, right? So this is what the philosophers are saying. This is what, again, our ancestors have been showing us. And as the DNA is getting activated more and more within me, as these solar flares are creating more heat and more speed, right? I think of fire again, and when you boil water, it just creates more bubbles faster, right? So as we're speeding up in our consciousness, the counterbalance to bring the avatar state into a more harmonic experience in this realm is to counterbalance it by slowing down. And so Taurus is all about fixed earth, right? It's a stable, fixed sign. And again, go study the characteristics of Taurus, and perhaps over the next 60 hours, work and imbibe with the energy of Taurus, right? So again, eating grounding foods, maybe looking at financial matters, looking for the long haul, stabilize, again, ground if you can, work with soil, because again, Taurus is the earth itself. So maybe you go put your hands in the soil, go plant something. They say when the moon is in a earth or water sign that things are more fertile, right? Because things are coming down. If you look at the upside down triangle, it's the feminine. So water and earth are considered feminine aspects of this reality, and fire and air are considered masculine, which would be the triangle going up, right? Because if you think about how air travels, it goes up and out, and that's how fire travels, it goes up and out. Where water, it comes down and saturates, and earth is solid that holds the water, right? So if you just look at the fundamentals of the elementals, and seeing how duality is fractaled into two, and is, think of like the flower of life, right? And here comes Terrence Howard again, activating us with the flower of life and the components of the flower of life, and how it can be fractaled and reflected back through the luminaries in the sky that are showing us, that are helping us remember who we are, our avatar state, that we are the path of least resistance. We are divine intelligence. It's not that just we imbibe with it or we merge with it. We are it. And so when you can remember that you are the elementals as well, and you have these elementals within you, and learning how to master these states, then you can have a better experience and co-create with the divine creator, whoever that may be for you. Source energy, creator, God, God force, whatever you claim to be, your divine intelligence, your creator, your co-creator of this reality. At the base fundamentals, all creation is made through elementals with nature, in a harmonic and synchronistic relationship with nature. This is not about battling nature anymore. It's not about competing with nature. This is about collaboration, cooperation, and collaborating and connecting with your own elements within you. That's how you stop the war without, guys, is you understand your operating system and how everything has cycles and patterns and functions within you that are also happening outside of you. So again, learning these elementals will help you have more understanding for yourself, for the process, because everything's about a process, right? We are in processes whether we realize it or not. If we don't think we're in processes, we think we're in chaos, and it's because we don't understand or understand the system. And so we're perceiving chaos, but really there is a system to it. And everything outside of you in nature is telling you about that system if you learn how to tune in and if you learn how to listen, which is very much something that Mars and Gemini can't be challenged with right now, because we have our Mars planet action just wants to think and communicate and talk, and I've been doing a lot of that. So first of all, I want to thank everybody that's joining here live. Thank you for joining in this conversation about the planets, about the moon, and about the elementals. And so go ahead and get a moon app if you're thinking about it. There's a lot of free apps out there on social media, and just follow the moon cycles. And again, for the next 60 hours, we're coming into the moon in Taurus. Work with the element of Earth and work with those cycles of, or the element of Earth, and then embody with Taurus the energies of Taurus, because that's what the moon is reminding us to come in and work with these energies for a more harmonic experience in this avatar state. And then, of course, follow the moon cycles as well, because after Taurus, we know is Gemini, and then Cancer, and Leo. And this is how we also can denote new moon and full moon cycles. We're having a new moon in Leo coming up. Gosh, I believe it's 8/5, August 5th, maybe? I don't know the exact date. Sorry, guys. But we have a new moon in Leo coming up. So new moons are about new seed points. And with Leo, it's working with the element of fire. And then go imbibe with the characteristics of Leo, which is about creation. It's about the heart. It's ruled by the heart, right? So coming from our heart space and create with joy from the heart of the child that rules the 5th house. And so these are points of study you can go look at. You want to look at Leo, the characteristics of Leo. You want to look at the characteristics of fire. You want to look at the characteristics of fixed energy, because Leo is fixed fire. And that's why it's in the middle of the summer, because it's steadfast in its heat, and then it's followed by Virgo, which changes the seasons, right? So it's a mutable sign. So these are the elements you want to look at for the upcoming energies to work with this Leo, this new moon in Leo energy, and how to tap into your innate, again, in the 8, think of the number 8, and in 8, you're in the middle of this 8, you're in the middle of the infinity symbol, that's showing you your toric field, that's showing you how you are already balanced, you are already harmonized, you are already, an aspect of you at least anyway, is already in that state. So it's connecting with that avatar state of mastering the elements. That's what the moon cycles can help you delineate and discover within yourself, and to master these elemental within you. and to play with it, have a more harmonic experience in this realm, working with the energy in this way. So anyway, this is just an offer, a download, an upload, a receivership, a remembrance of like, oh yeah, that's how we work with the moon, or that's how we can work with the moon to have a better experience of this reality. So I was just called to share, again, Mars and Gemini, just taking the impetus and the action to share these rememberings of what's coming through the moon's memories and how to work with the elemental forces that are all around us. Thank you again for connecting to the channel. My name is Ella Ivy. And please reach out to livzenastrology if you're wanting more information, and reach out also to via my email if you would like to receive the free ebook that I created for those that are studying astrology. This is from a Western astrological perspective. So it's basically the fundamentals of astrology. What are the planets? What are the elements? What are the signs? What are the houses? And so it's something that I created as I was learning more about these frequencies and about working with the planetary energies, and I'd love to be able to share this with you guys. So, all right, reach out if you want a copy. Again, it's free. It's my offer. It's my gift to you. And thank you again for hanging out, for playing with me, for being here on this live with me, and for connecting to the content. I've got so much gratitude and love for all of you. All right, thanks for playing, guys. Much love. Bye.